this kind of churches za matusi kila wakati that wewe unatuambia nini and you have a disabled child. So the mother of the disabled child was always abused, was always told so many bad things. The pressure became too much on her, and she felt she's a reject in the society. She was not wanted. Because anytime she tries to associate with people, people tell her, you have nothing to tell us because you have a disabled what? Child. When she tries to confine in some of her friends, wale ambao wanaona wako karibu kidogo, in fact, those friends wana pretend wanamsikiza, and then baadaye they go talking behind her back. Some years went down the line. This woman was really trying to encourage herself, put herself together. Some years down the line, the husband left because he said, kwetu hakuna walemavu. In the husband's home, there is no disability. But of course, even in the wife's home, there is no disability. So the mother had to carry the burden of this child with a disability. So this woman is now a divorcee. Look at this. Life became very miserable for this woman. She was struggling to earn a living because these people who have special needs, they have to have someone called a caregiver who is with them always. So this kind of a child cannot be left alone. So the society being us, sisi hapa, we were mocking this woman. We don't understand the disabilities there and what we can do. So this kind of mockery, ikafanya umama akasikia vibaya sana. One time, one fine morning, I think it was the climax of it. One woman from the other homestead, alishika kiuno hivi. Ladies, you know mkishika kiuno hivi, what comes from your mouth? Si mnajua? Apa inakuwa non-stop, right? So this woman alitusi sana hiyo familia. Little did she know that she was causing a lot of harm. Haikuisha hata wiki moja, wakaenda kuchota maji. Unajua zile wells za ushago, the community well where everybody goes to fetch water, right? Wachana na huku Nairobi tumazoea tap. Do we understand those wells at home? So this woman in the morning was going to fetch water na ile ndoo. Kuna ile ndoo unafunga kamba, unarusha ndani, unapandisha maji, right? So as she threw in the bucket, coming up with water, akatoka na mkono. And let me ask you, kama unachota hiyo maji, what will you do? Will you bring the water up? What are you going to do? Utafanya? Utapandisha maji juu? What will you do? Chances are that utaachilia hiyo kamba upige nduru, si ndio? That's what this woman did. When the people came, wakashangaa huyu mwanamke anapiga nduru asubuhi, wakapata some brave men wakaingia kwa kisima and they brought out that disabled child. Kumbe mama alinyonga mtoto akamrusha kwa kisima. When they noticed, we know this child, wakamfuata kwenda kwao. So unajua kwao? They went there, expecting to ask the mother questions like, what happened? Sindio? But walipofika home, thinking they were to ask the mother questions, they got a surprise. Mama alijinyonga kwa mti pia. So the whole family gone. Now, I want to ask this question. We jirani, who was throwing this kind of words? What do you benefit when you say that? And are you going to go to this burial? Will you go? Will you go? Now, those are some of the difficult situations we face out here. Some of us here, kwa kanisa, we don't mind what comes from our mouths. You may say that wewe ulikuwa unaongea tu. Let me tell you, hiyo kuongea tu can also cause very major problems. when you talk bad about someone who has disability, they don't feel welcome. And you know, in the process, what happens? They leave. They will never come back. And then tuko hapa tunasema tunaenda mbinguni. Sikizi niwaambie wapendwa. We have some of the disabilities here, and some of us, we think we cannot associate with these people who are disabled. Kwa sababu gani? Tunadhani ni laana. In fact, some people who have not yet been enlightened, they think it's a curse. Let's find out if it's a curse. Some wanna connect disability na uchawi. Let's find out what you call superstition. Is it really true or not? And again, friends, I want us to know this. Our church tries to embrace and bring everybody on board. Do you remember the times of TMI? It was total member involvement. Now, let us look at that word total. What does the word total mean? Huh? Everybody. Everybody. And I want to throw back the question I asked in the morning. Why is the church full of those who are okay and not full of those who are disabled? Let's find out what's happening here. Another lady somewhere there, Ukambani, at around 25 years of age. That's a very good age to give birth, between 25 and 28 for ladies. She gave birth, and mtoto alipozaliwa, aka notice one hand was not properly developed. So mtu ambaye hana mkono yote anaitwa kikono in Kiswahili. Yeah? So this hand was developed, but ikabaki hapa. So from here kwenda chini, there is no hand. So she really felt very bad. She was like, how can I give birth to this? What will people say about me? What about my mother? What about my husband, my friends? What are they going to do? So akafikiria sana, and akasema, this is not the kind of life that I want. So ye pia akafunga mtoto kitambaa, akaenda akamrusha kwa choo. Alipomrusha kwa choo, it was one guy alikuwa anaenda haja. So after ameinama anataka kuanza haja yake, anasikia sauti ya mtoto ikilia kutoka hapo ndani. Friends, let me ask you, unaweza endelea na haja? Utaendelea? Sinapotianga kwanza? Later on, the child was rescued, akapelekwa hospitali, and the lady was arrested. What is happening here? When disability strikes, a person undergoes 5 stages. Get me clearly. The first stage ni shock. Unashtuka, like, disability imeingia aje? You see that stage? You are shocked. Okay? After the shock, yani unakaa umechanganyikiwa, uamini kwamba it's disability that has come in, yeah? After the shock, what happens next? You go into denial stage. Uko zile za sio mimi, hii si yangu. Kama umeona unasema itaisha. You get that stage, yeah? You go into denial stage. Itaisha tu. Na hapo kwa denial stage is where a lot of transition happens. After the denial stage, you go to a stage where you try to look for solutions. Not solutions, you try to ask questions. What happened? Nimekuwa disabled aje sasa? All those questions. Ama ilikuwa ile siku nilikuwa place fulani? Sio hivyo. Is it my husband? Is it my wife? What's happening? You ask a lot of questions. Ama ni watu wa kwetu wamefanya ile kitu. After that stage of questions, you go to the stage of trying to look for solutions. Now, hapo kwa solutions is where a lot of falsehood comes in this way. You try to look for doctors who can help you to heal that disability. Unaambiwa uende sijui hospitali gani, unaenda huko usaidiki. You go to I don't know which medicine man, you don't get help. The last resort, unaenda kwa mganga, bado usaidiki. You go to these power healing crusades. You know them, eh? Where you see viwete wamebeba those crutches. Then uko zile za hata mimi nitapata usaidizi hapo. Bado husaidiki. That's the stage where you are trying to look for help, hoping utasaidika. But unfortunately, you don't get help. Now, after that is where we go to the stage of acceptance. Now you try to accept that this thing is there with me. But unfortunately, some of us hatufiki hiyo stage ya accept. That's where like this lady was. She never accepted that disability has now struck in. So when you don't accept, number one, yourself, you may kill your own child, your own spouse, anybody who is disabled. They are chased away from the family because they are disabled. They are sent into the streets because they are disabled and because you don't want to associate na mtu ambaye ni mlemavu, unamtenga. Some of you abandon them in what we call orphanages and special homes. Why? Because you don't want to be seen with them. Ama pale nyumbani, when visitors come, unasema peleka mtoto kwa ile room so that the visitors don't see that you have a disabled child. You have not accepted. With that reason, ile siku unakuja church, unamwacha kwa nyumba. Unasema mimi ninaenda church aje na mimi ni mwanakwaya. I sing very good alto. How will they see me? I'm an elder. How can I push a wheelchair of my child to church? Doesn't it make sense to you? Unamwacha pale nyumbani. When you leave them at home, unamwacha tu na maid. Namwambia wewe shughulikia mtoto, juu nikimpeleka church atanisumbua ama atapiga kelele. Unamwacha huko. Then you are coming to church, unaimba Roho Mtakatifu kiongozi. Sasa unapoimba Roho Mtakatifu, yule mwenye umeacha home anaimba wapi? Na nani? When you come here and you say, ile kwaya leo ilimba vizuri. In fact, that message was very powerful. Sasa tunakaribia makambi, si ndio? Tutaanza zile za, you know what? Mimi sitaki kumiss someone, sitaki kumiss family life kwa sababu that someone was very powerful. But there is someone you left somewhere. There is someone who has not come on board and you are here listening to the message. Why? Sikiza niwaambie wapendwa. Disability comes in the following ways. Number one, Nona, during that time of pregnancy, a lot of things happen. And I want us to make this clear to us. Some of us, we think we have experience in giving birth. For those who are in the birth giving period, ama stage, ama age, you think you have experience. Look at this. Labda ulizaa mtoto firstborn, ako sawa. Secondborn, thirdborn, wako sawa. Now, kwa fourthborn, unasema my child is okay. Mimi niko sawa. You don't go to hospital, you don't go to clinic, you don't do anything. Unakuja kwenda during the last trimester, when you want, uandikiwe tuka kitu, ndio uende ku give birth. Not knowing that labda, things happened in between. Na hapo, actually, during that stage of pregnancy is where a lot of things happen. That's where malformations happen. That's where brain damages happen. That's where things happen in this sense. Before I invite someone to tell us more about cerebral palsy, when Nona, that stage of pregnancy, look at this mother, ambaye, kuna like, for example, there are those drugs we are given ukienda kwa clinic. Zinaitwa? IFAS. So you know them. Now, you don't take them, amuna ruka. You don't do those frequent clinic visits, uangaliwe kama kuna things to do with UTIs and such like. Alafu ile sikutazama mtoto akona ulemavu. Utaanza kusema oh. And there are some men here who give their wives stress and problems. Unamchapa, unampea stress. Akizaa mtoto akona ulemavu, unasema hakuna kiwete kwetu. And by the way, men, don't beat your wives when they're pregnant. Amen? If you feel umeshikwa na hasira, ili uende ugonge ukuta, ujigongeshe kwa ukuta, si ndio? Ili uende ujigongeshe kwa ukuta. Don't beat your wife. Reason being, when you hit this woman, you're tampering with a lot of things. Some wanamgonga direct kwa tumbo. Just because unasema mwanamke atanijua leo. And that's what you call gender-based violence. But ladies pia mwache kujaribu wanaume. Unajua mnafanyanga? When you notice the man is angry, anataka kukupiga. Unajua hawezi kukupiga, unaanza kumwambia nipige. Niue. Unamwekea kichwa hivi, ukipiga nduru niue kama wewe ni mwanaume. So what if this man hits you? Ladies, let us by all means stop promoting gender-based violence, especially during that duration when someone is expectant. What happens is, if pregnancy is affected, you can give birth normally, yes, but utapata this child has a problem. For example, when during the first 3 months of pregnancy, the first 12 weeks, zinakuanga very sensitive. That's when actually the baby develops. A lot of things develop within that duration. From the second trimester, that's when now the baby is beginning to mature. And some other parts zinaanza kutokea. And then the last trimester now, the baby is preparing to come out. First period, the first 3 months, what happens is the brain develops. We have what called the neurotube, pia, develop within that duration. And then the backbone as well. So if these things don't develop properly, ndio maana unaambiwa ukule vegetables, a lot of them. Ukunywe hizo dawa, IFAS. Alafu kuna wale watu mimi sikunywi IFAS na kula mawe. Mnajua zile mawe? Hizo mawe zinatupeanga nini during pregnancy? What do they give us? Iron. You're sure about that? Let me ask you. Nani amewahi enda hospitali clinic akaandikiwa ukule mawe 2 times 3? Who? Someone? Do they give us iron? Are you sure about it? Who can defend that? Cravings. Ladies, let us have a discussion here. Hizo mawe mnasema zinawapea iron. Which doctor wrote for you bali ukunywe IFAS akakuandikia ukule mawe? Which doctor? Which hospital was that? Do you know an hospital that did that? Any doctor who did that? So some have taken this seriously when I replace with what is correct. Alafu ukipata shida jameni, what are you going to do, friends? Very sad. There are some things, some diseases zinatokea during pregnancy, and if you don't attend to them, unajipata uko kwa shida. And even during that birth process, unaona hiyo duration ya give birth, a lot of things happen kwa ile delivery room. In fact, from the maternity ward to the delivery room. Look at this. This woman is about to give birth. Anaita nurse. Nurse anamwambia wewe fanya nini? Do what? Goja kidogo. So the woman is there writhing in pain, analia kwa uchungu sana. But nurse bado anamwambia wewe masaa yako bado. Masaa yako bado, and this woman is feeling out of pain. She's about to give birth. She needs help. Nurses in the house. I don't know, by the way, nurses who are very rude. Why are they rude? Not all. Those who are rude, why are they rude? So what happens is, unapata, during that duration, we call it prolonged labor. Hapo ndio maneno hufanyika. And some of us, unfortunately, hatujui tunafaa kufanya nini. Look at this. I want to give you a small story as we are learning about cerebral palsy. Kulikuwa na this lady alienda kwa hospitali ku give birth. akafika masaa yake. Yenyewe she was about to give birth. But hiyo negligence, hiyo kuambiwa ngoja, she waited, but she was in pain. Mwanamke alilia until wale wenye walikuwa in the same ward, the neighbors, wakasema sisi hata kama tuko na uchungu, hii yako imezidi. So the women made noise. Ndio this lady akakuja kwenda kuwa attended to. When they were there, akachukuliwa, but for sure alikuwa amefika time to give birth. Now those who know your labor when you're just about to give birth, it normally happens in phases. Kuna pupu inakuanga kwanza, si ndio? After that, maji kwanza, but before the baby comes, you know those things, right? So yeye hata alikuwa amesha pupu, but the nurses were like ngoja. You understand? So ikakuwa so prolonged, and when the nurses now are actually, let me say, pretending to help, wakipata mtoto ameshachoka, mama mwenyewe ako karibu kuchoka na hiyo chungu yote. You know, during that time anything can happen. Either wewe mzazi ama mtoto, one of you can die, si ndio? If not both of you. Either way the baby came out. Na sasa the sad story was mtoto alipotoka alikuwa amekufa. But ile mtoto kurushwa kwa kifua ya mama at birth, wakamrushia mtoto akulia, so they were trying to say, wacha tu atalia. So they tried to blindfold the mother. Eventually mtoto akaambiwa ati anapelekwa nursery. Mama akiwa desperate akasema sawa, mpeleke nursery as long as atakuwa sawa. So they gave a lot of excuses to convince the mother. The mother pia, I don't know alikuwa ameweka akili wapi, akaingia box. Wakamwambia, what you do, go home. Kesho ukikuja mtoto atakuwa ako sawa. Let me ask you mothers in the house, will you go home? Why? Kuna mwingine anafanya mbona mtaenda home? Because huwezi acha mtoto hospitali hata kama amewekwa kwa nursery, si ndio? Things happen. But this woman, I don't know, alikuwa convinced aje akaenda home. Because aliambiwa sijui sasa bili ya kitanda, sijui a lot of things. Coming back the following day, ndio akamwambia, unfortunately your child did not make it. Let me ask you now, you mother, are you going to sue the hospital? Are you going to cry? What are you going to do? So what am I saying here? Wakati unaenda ku give birth, we always say go to good hospitals. Don't give birth at home. Ama just any hospital around here. But there are some medical facilities right now, they are being shut down because they are not yet registered. They are not accredited to do some services. Na wewe kwa sababu hujui, you just go there to do things. Don't risk. If this baby will survive, atatoka hapo na shida. During that prolonged labor is when there's what you call oxygen supply to the brain. Unajua that time mtoto anajaribu kujitegemea na pia anajaribu kujidisconnect from the mother during that stage, yeah? Now unapata ikiwa very prolonged, things happen within the system of the baby, and if there's no oxygen supply to the brain, that's where the brain becomes damaged. Brain ikishakuwa damaged, disability comes in. Kuna sometimes they force the child to come out. They pull the child out. Iyo kumpull, wanavuta vibaya. Ubongo inaharibika. Brain damage comes in. And when brain damage comes in, what strikes in is what you call cerebral palsy. Let's find out, what is this cerebral palsy and how are we supposed to do with it? So are we now seeing that actually there is nobody who is excused from disability? Anybody can do what? Can find themselves in that category. Kuna things to do with cerebral palsy, autism. By the way, autism nowadays is on so much on the rise. Kuna mental and learning difficulties. Alafu kuna walimu hapa na wazazi who always keep on punishing their children. Unakuwa namba mwisho kwa nini? Hata uwezi andika jina, uwezi hata fanya hesabu. Lakini kuna wale wengine we were weak in mathematics. Sisi tunajijua na chemistry. But there's this other side. What happens? Karibu and tell us something about cerebral palsy.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Naona mnalala. Naona wengi wenu mnalala. Tuimbe wimbo moja. Tuimbe wimbo moja. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong, they are weak but he is strong. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. The Bible tells me so. Hello everyone. My name is Doti. Nitakuwa naongelelea cerebral palsy, as you've been told by the speaker. So, what is cerebral palsy basically? This is a group of permanent movements and posture disorders caused by abnormal brain development or brain damage before, during, or shortly after birth. Si tumeambiwa all these causes zinakuja wakati wa from conception hadi delivery. Si ndio? So, basically cerebral palsy lies under that, and that is one of the disorder that we are going to talk about right now. So this cerebral palsy basically affects the muscles, and coordination and motor skills. Motor skills, which is movement, basically. Others cannot walk or write. Unapata wako na what we call muscle spasticity, which is the muscles the muscles haziwezi kustress, it's just muscle shortening. Okay, so let us talk about the causes of cerebral palsy. We have the prenatal causes, which are before birth. Number one, maternal health. Maternal health, these are health status of the mother. We've been told about the infection. If you don't treat infections during this pregnancy period, your child is prone to have cerebral palsy. Number two is we've been told about lack of oxygen to the fetus. If your baby lack oxygen from the mother, basically ako prone kuwa na CP. We have also premature birth. This is when the baby is born before time. This one also, because I need that oxygen from a mother, mpaka akwe able to breathe on their own. So akizaliwa before, iyo can cause cerebral palsy. We also have genetic conditions. These are inherited characteristics from the parents. Poor nutrition. During pregnancy, tunaambiwa tukule vizuri, balanced diet, but most of us, I don't know if we do that. Do we? Do we? Are you sure? Are you sure? Kuna wale wana skip, si ndio? So if you do that, zile nutrients, kuna nutrients zenye they help kwa development ya mtoto. So if you don't eat properly, mtoto some parts hazita develop vizuri, basically the brain. Lack of prenatal care, whereby we tunaambiwa tuende to visit clinics, but some of us tuna miss. Tumeambiwa unazaa mtoto wa kwanza ako sawa, wa pili ako sawa, wa tatu, but when the fourth born anakuja unaona ni kama ni mazoea tu. You just don't go mpaka unangoja ile due date ndio uende. That one is can also cause CP. Poor access to health care. If you don't access health care mzuri, enda hospitali mzuri zenye wata check everything even from mtoto kama ako sawa, you yourself as the mother kama uko sawa. So we need to access good health care in order to avoid EOCP. We also have another course, perinatal. This is during birth, whereby tumeambiwa kuna ile prolonged labor. Prolonged labor inapea stress mtoto, hence anakuwa the oxygen to the brain of the baby inakuwa deprived. Hapa atapata inaitwa perinatal asphyxia, whereby this is the lack of oxygen kwenda kwa brain ya mtoto. Well, another one we have is the umbilical cord complications, whereby kwa umbilical cord there is umbilical cord prolapse. This is when the umbilical cord comes before a baby. Hiyo ni wakati wa kuzaliwa. That one also can cause CP. There's cord compression. This is the squeezing of umbilical cord during birth and uterine walls. We also have cord knotting. Cord knotting ni ile ya umbilical cord inaweza kuwa tied around the neck. Hiyo ni wakati unajifungua. Unaona ukienda hizi checkups before utapata wakiscan they can see if mtoto ako sawa, if ako in the right position. But if you don't, unaona things like umbilical cord knotting hauta notice because it's only seen kwa scans, right? So it is good to go for checkups so that they can see all this. We also have the maternal health condition, such as the high blood pressure. High blood pressure is from the mother, so that one can cause harm to the baby as well. Well, next we have placenta issues. So with placenta issues, we have placenta abruption, whereby it's an early separation from the uterine walls. Placenta ikitoka mapema, that one can, because ndo ina provide oxygen, every other thing to the baby, it can cause CP. Well, let's look about the complications. Complication number 1, we have difficulty in movement and coordination. These kids with CP or adults, they have difficulty. Why? Because of the muscle spasticity, as I said. Most of them use assistive devices like wheelchairs, etc. We also have speech and communication issues. Others don't know how to speak. Until occupational therapists, I'm a speech therapist, come in, that is when they can be able to express themselves or be able to communicate. Others are feeding and swallowing difficulties. This one makes it hard to get enough nutrition, particularly infant, thus impair growth and weaken the bones. We also have contractures. Contractures, these are muscle tissue shortening due to severe tightening. Si tumesema kuna ile muscle spasticity. So, this one can be a result of, as I said, muscle spasticity. We have spinal deformities because these kids with CP, their bones ziko weak. So they'll deform due to lack of nutrition. Now we go to prevention. As we know, CP can only be prevented. Cannot be prevented, but we can reduce the risks. Number one, let's go for regular checkup, prenatal checkups, or prenatal care. We have number two, proper nutrition, whereby when the mother eats well, isonutrients, the first stage, pregnancy, ndio tumeambiwa about the neurotube and spinal cord, ndio zina develop. So with proper nutrition, inazisaidia kudevelop vizuri. Managing maternal infections. This is whereby when a mother is having infection, let them go and seek medical services, e.g. like STDs and UTIs, etc. Wind up early for the checkups. Then we have prompt treatment of jaundice and infection in newborns. We also have immunizations to prevent brain infections. Because ukiruka is immunization, it is possible for your kid to suffer from CP. So now let's go to how to care for the person with cerebral palsy or CP. Number one, daily support. This one helps helping with the feeding, dressing, hygiene, and mobility, since they are not independent. Number two, we have safety. Ensure they have a safe environment. Number three, we have monitoring health, whereby we should have regular checkups and watch for any complications. Family support. This is where the caregivers come in. Also, to the family in general, to support these kind of people and the caregivers, these cerebral palsy kids. Well, next we move to the therapy and management. With cerebral palsy, there is no cure. The only thing that we have is management only. So there are some therapies that improves their quality of life or day in, day out living. Number one, we have physical therapy. This one enhances strength, flexibility, and movement due to the muscle training and exercises. So these physical therapists want us idea so that they can gain a little bit of independence by doing exercises to them, to the muscles, so that they can be able, if they can be able to walk, or they can be able to move the hands. So next, we have occupational therapists. Occupational therapy builds the daily living skills, hence gaining independence in daily activities. So basically, occupational therapy also helps them to gain their independence. The third one, we have speech therapy. Speech therapy, this one helps them in speaking, communicating, also others by use of sign language, and also swallowing and eating, because these kids, they have a problem with swallowing and eating. So they help them. And also, these occupational therapists help them on how to teach them on how to use communication devices. We have the last one, recreational therapy. This one improves motor skills, speech, and emotional well-being, whereby our watoto pia nao wanataka kucheza, kusocialize, and all that. So with the recreational therapist, that is what he or she helps on. Are we together? So any question? Probably. Till there, that's all about CP. It's a broad topic though, but those are the key parts to learn for now because of this session. Do you have any question? Yes, please. No. CP is during birth. Basically, the period from conception to delivery. Are you answered? Yes. Any other question? Yes, please. Everybody dies.
I don't know if you're getting me. What I mean is, okay, we're human being, we die. Yes. But will they die out of the condition that they have?
No.
Because they're not sick?
Because they are taken care of, so they can't. Yes, please.
So I have a question. So I have an opinion, and I want to say something. Some women who give birth, and also during that time when the umbilical cord is cut, some become sick, and also at the same time during birth, maybe it's possible to become disabled. Now, when you see this child, you are shocked, you're worried, and then you wonder what really happened, what went wrong. What went wrong? I gave birth to a normal child. What went wrong? Was it my spouse? Was it my wife? What happened that I got this problem? So sometimes the worry throws us off, and sometimes we chase away those people who, our spouses, our family members, and also sometimes our neighbors, they ask you, where is your child, where is your spouse? Then you say you don't know. Some kill and they die, the children die. So, because sometimes we just neglect them, we throw them outside, they die. That's the question he has. I think he's trying to ask about what really happens. And we talked about those stages. He's trying to ask, why does it happen that some people neglect their children when things happen? That is the question. He's trying to ask why people neglect their children when disability comes in, and maybe the birth was normal, but shock comes in. So what happens? So the question was, why do some people not accept when disability comes in? They're worried and things happen. They neglect their children, some separations. What happens?
Basically, sometimes with CP, I'll talk about CP. CP can come to anyone. Not that it is in your family history or anything, because this one, it's a brain damage. So when you neglect, maybe as a man, you have, for the family support, you should support your spouse. Sometimes it wasn't her, haikukuwa makosa yake. It's because things might have happened during delivery. So be supportive. Men, hello? Hello? Are you supportive? Kwa nini mnawaacha? Why are you leaving these ladies? Mimi nimeongelelea CP. CP inaweza kuja at any to anyone. Sometimes akiwa during the pregnancy and kwanza mostly hapo kwa delivery. Hapo it is kupata CP ni rahisi sana. So are you answered? Any other question? Okay, so I'll leave it at there and welcome.
No, thank you so much. Actually, this is supposed to be a whole course, a whole seminar on its own. Now, I want to invite two individuals. I think our speaker of the day, John, and someone, to come and give us a testimony of how their life looks like. And as they come, there is this thing called CP. I want to add just something. Our watoto mkiona, most of them, they have things to do with excessive drilling. Unaona tu anatema mate. Mshaona watoto kama hao? They have excessive drilling. Sometimes their speech is so bad. Afanya tu zile za and they're shouting. That's how they talk. You've seen such kind of children, and they're always on wheelchairs. Those who are able to walk, what we call mild CP, wanatembea na those supportive devices, and others. Alafu hao ndio watu wakikuja kwa church, wewe unasema umevaa nguo ya church choir ama ya deacons, whatever the department ama youth, unasema utaki uchafuke na hiyo mate. Mama anaenda home, anabeba mtoto mzito peke yake. Hata kama ni wewe utaweza? So they need help and love. Are we going to help them now? Let me tell you, heri uchafuke lakini ufanye kazi ambayo ni ya maana. Amen. Tusikue kama yule jirani. You remember the jirani? Alafu inafikanga masaa ya lunch time, watu wanaanzanga kwenda kando kando bila wanajuana. Huyu mwenye ako na mtoto mlemavu mnamwacha hapo. Kwa nini? What happened? John, please come and tell us something about your life, or a friend of yours. And as he's coming, there is another category, just a quick preview, inaitwa blindness and deafness. Hapo kwa blindness, hata watu macho wengine tuko hapo ndani. Because what really happened, we said in the morning that disability is when you cannot do something with, you have limited ability. Ukiweza nyang'anya hizo miwani zako, it's possible kuna some things hautafanya, si ndio? Alafu mnajua wale watu wa kusoma simu hivi. Mshaona wale watu wa kusoma simu hivi? Na wale wa kuweka miwani hivi. You know these people? Alafu kuna mwenye anaika hivi na anasoma. Then kuna wale watu wenye blindness strikes in. John, please come. Blindness strikes in at old age. Alafu anakuambia message ikiingia, anakuambia kuja unisomee message. You've experienced those things. But ya M-Pesa unasomanga wenyewe. What happens? So what happens when someone becomes blind? The eye has some parts. So when those parts are affected, including the things to do with called cataracts. So Alfred, so normally when we have things to do with cataracts are some white things. Mshona mtu akona vitu za white hapa kwa macho. Have you ever seen someone like that? Yes, unapata, we have the what called the pupil, the cornea, they're all covered. So this person actually cannot see. Alafu tunawaibia. We rape them. But then we had an instance where someone took advantage of disability, akarape mtoto. You know what happened? Mama aliacha the teenager at home, akaenda shughuli zake, akijua amemwacha na maid. Maid pia ni kama alikuwa tu zake, zilikuwa zimemshika, si ndio? You know what she did? She took advantage of the boy, akamrape. Because uko sure haoni ni wewe, si ndio? Hata hao watu wako na CP, uko sure hajielewi. But you take advantage of them. Ile kiboko inakungoja, my friend. Some of them, hata hao wenye wako deaf, unajua tu vizuri hakusikii, unamsengenya. Because you are very sure hakusikii, si ndio? You talk bad about them. You rape them, you kill them because you're sure. By the way, there is there is someone who said, even in marriages and relationships, unauliza mtu, sasa wewe na venye ukiwete hivyo unaweza zaa? Let me ask you, how does disability connect with giving birth? Ukimuuliza mtu hivyo, hata ukiulizwa hivyo utafeel aje? And mother-in-laws and father-in-laws, wakati mtoto ameleta home spouse mwenye kuna disability, mnamuitanga kando, mnamuuliza kwa watu wote, huyu ndio umeona? Wakisi wanasema kwa ndete ile kerema, si ndio? But why? This is a normal person. They also need love. They need feelings. They need to just set up families. But most of the time, we don't accept them in our families. The same way we don't accept them in church. We feel they are not our business. Tell us something.
Happy Sabbath. Am I audible? Okay. Happy Sabbath. Happy day. Wacha nirudie jina yangu. Naitwa Alfred Makere. Before I go into my conversation, ningependa chorister kuje hapa na one elder. I want us to sing one stanza and then we do one test and then I go briefly into what I wanted to talk to the church today. Are they here? Okay, you will help us and lead the church to Imbe number 77 in Swahili version. Gemlins, yeah, that's one.
Stanza? 1 and 2.
1.
Okay. Song number 77. Je mlinzi ukutani. Je mlinzi ukutani. 3 go. Je mlinzi ukutani wa mji wa Zayuni. Habari zake usiku asubuhi karibu. Kuna dalili za kupambazuka. Kuna dalili za kupambazuka. Thank you.
Thank you. So before you leave, I want us to do a quick test. Whenever you are a visually impaired person in your midst, or wherever you have an audience, there's a way in which we usually introduce ourselves. So I'll go and they'll go after me. So, for instance, I'll go and say, I am Alfred Makere. I'm donned on dark blue trousers, blue shirt, black blue jacket. I have dark shades, and I'm kind of dark in complexion. My height is 5'7" feet. So you will go after me. Go and describe yourself as well. Where is the elder? Because we said we are learning every day, right? So it's good for us to do it, so that next time we'll be spot on it.
Okay, I'll try. I'm Nancy Steve. Done on a black skirt, flowered soap, kitenge. I'm chocolate in color. Done on a shade black specs. What else? Height 5'2".
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
She got it.
Thank
now, I wanted an elder. I don't know if he's here.
He's gone.
Yeah, just follow the cue.
Okay, I'm Danvers Bonuke. I am wearing a green suit. I don't know which color. a white shirt. I'm 5.6. Yes.
Okay, thank you. They got it. So, as I said, I'm Alfred. I am an advocate, and I'm here mostly to talk about the legal perspective of disability. Sijui kama mnajua, like 1 month ago, the president assented to a new bill called the Persons with Disabilities Act 2025. So I'm to talk about it. Before that, I promise that I'm going to be brief. I have to talk about my experiential living as a person with disability. Of course, I wasn't born blind. My blindness is acquired. I became totally blind while I was 13, and you can imagine. But somehow I knew that gradually I was moving into blindness because I was born mono-eyed, and I had cataract since birth. So from that nascent age all the way to 13, and I went a number of surgeries. To be precise, I think close to 7 of them, as I was really trying to fight off blindness. So you can imagine, by the time I was losing my sight, I was in class 8 and I'd registered to do my national examination. So for that year, it had to pass, and I had to go and learn Braille. And you can imagine the kind of conversation we had in the family. At some point, nakumbuka nikiketi, and then some of my families, of course, we live in a society, they would have ideas. First of all, disability is not a curse at all. Even in my wish list, now being blind, I've fully accepted myself. Seeing is never in my priority of list. I am totally okay with how I am. And I remember those days, we'd sit there and you'd hear one of my uncles say, Gaki, I know my kiss is not that perfect, so you'll forgive me for that. But nimejikubali. Even I remember nikiwa nyumbani, kwa village, Kitale, I was one day walking around. Unajua when ukiwa in a familiar place, you don't need the walking stick. Unatembea just normally. And I was walking by the road, and on the other side of the road, nikasikia mtu ananiita, Buddha, ebu kama hivi kiasi, and I'm like, sasa nitafanya aje? And then hapo kwa barabara ni gari zinapita mbio sana. And I'm like, sasa niende ama nilenge msee? Nikasema no, I have to go and see nini ina happen the other side of the road. So ikabidi nime adapt to my skills of being a blind person. Nikasikiza barabara vizuri, nikasikia hapa hakuna gari. Nikavuka. Kufika hiyo side nyingine, sasa nikashangaa jamaa ako wapi sasa? Now what am I gonna do? So ikabidi ni how to craft away. Nikasema ni aje Buddha, uko wapi? Na akaniambia niko na huko. Nikasikia hii direction, nikapiga right turn. Nikajimpata penye yako. Kufika hapo nikagongana na wheelchair, and I'm like akaniambia ai Buddha, hapa kuna mlima na sijui nitafikaje the other side, unisaidie nikamsukuma na wheelchair. Nikamsukuma wheelchair yote mpaka tukamaliza mlima, tukafika in a certain shopping center. Akaniambia thank you so much, umenisaidia, but he didn't know that I was blind. So akaenda na wheelchair yake. On the other side of the road, kulikuwa na my cousin who was a shop around that place. Akanikujia akaniambia, hey, huyu naye umetoana naye wapi? Nikamwambia usijali, ukiona ma cousins wanatembea pamoja, achana maswali mingi. So disability, as I promised you, the Persons with Disability Act 2025, it repealed the Disability Act of 2003. Now, that has been a number of years before you act itolewe. The reason hii act imetengenezwa is because of the new constitution. And the problem with the older Disability Act ilikuwa na some charitable tendencies. Like ilikuwa ina present disability from a perspective of charity. And this new Disability Act, its language is basically premised on the human rights perspective. That's the essence of it. But pia kuna sweeping new developments ambazo zimekuwa incorporated into the new act. For instance, in the new act, we have a new concept called permanent disability. In the new act, in the old act, for those of us ambao relate to persons with disability, they usually have a card for disability, but it changed to a certificate. But this certificate is renewable after every 5 years. And the reasoning behind that is that disability sometimes is temporal. And vitu zinaweza happen. Upate disability yako imepotea. For instance, in some other circles, of which I don't believe, utaambiwa sijui uende kwa Prophet Or, utaona. And some of us who've gone to Thika School for the Blind, we know our colleagues ambao washaenda huko, and we still went through the same system, tukamaliza na tukajikubali. So that's the new concept ambayo imeintroduciwa kwamba there's something like permanent disability. Once you have that card, you are not subject to undergo very many processes that are usually very expensive. Another benefit that imekuja na this new act iko na tax benefits. Let's say if you have a business and you've had to undergo some expenses to do some adjustments because you have employees who are disabled in some sense. We are waiting for regulations to implement the act, but in essence you'll get like 50% tax rebates and tax benefits ukimake those adjustments, so as ndio tusianze ku complain that incorporate persons with disabilities into our workplaces is costly. So kuna benefits kama hizo. Pia kuna benefits za caregiving. If you are a parent, you are considered as a caregiver now in the new act. The benefit of that is that you will be registered with the National Council of Persons with Disabilities. And because kulea mtoto mlemavu is not easy, it's very expensive. You're also eligible for some tax reliefs. Alafu pia, for those of us ambao maybe you'd want to get these assistive devices for whatever category of disability, kuna hizo tax exempts, and there's always a difference between tax exempt and zero rated. Niliona a lot of confusion about that, but kuna tax exempt. So on that front, there are very many new sweeping reforms ambazo zimekuja na this Disability Act, and it's something that we can talk for in a lengthier session. But coming back to what we had undergone today, I was just sitting there and I was thinking to myself about what John was presenting in his sermon. He was telling us, under Leviticus, there was this perfect picture or perfect model of a priest, and the kind of attributes they had to attain for you to be a priest. And then it dawned on me that the Israelites, they had to wander in the wilderness for over 40 years. And the person who was leading them was actually a stammerer. And for these 40 years, they had one problem. All the time, walikuwa wanakuwa stubborn, God had to do a sign or bring a miracle to convince them. And it dawned on me that at times, miracles will not make you be a better believer, or it will not make you be a person of faith. You actually don't need miracles for you to believe in God. Because in my own thinking is that miracles, they have this temptation of making us being addicted. You'll always want more and more. It's like when you take tea or coffee, you'll always want more and more. And that's why whenever you interact with a person with disability, and as I was telling you, the new language in the new act is about human rights, is that some of us, our disability is not necessarily a medical issue. Like, it's not the first thing that you tell me once you're blind, you know of someone who can help me see. And that's never a concept, or you tell me that it's a social construct or anything. all you need is accepting yourself as a person with disability and doing whatever you can do in this society. That's what will be impactful. For instance, if you say for people who have got intellectual disabilities, in the older act, we have seen cases whereby some people conspire. They go and procure a medical report and they challenge the mental capacity of someone. And after that, they start controlling and abusing their assets. But this is not an automatic go in the new act. In the new act, even if you have whatever intellectual disability, the medical report is not conclusive. You also need like a judicial judgment on the same. Once you've procured that medical report, you'll have to present it before a court of law, and judges and the subject person to whom you are alleging that they are suffering from a mental infirmity, they have to be in the presence of the judge for them to be assessed together with the medical report. So it is a revolutionizing act that we can take, that is something that we are so proud of, courtesy of the Constitution and our good Senator Christel. I think that's all I will have to say for now. John knows that it was a struggle for him to get me here, because at the moment I'm mourning. I lost my aunt, and from here I'm going to rush to her place. So I want to leave at here, and unless there's a question.
Is there any question as we want to pray and close? So this is what we wanted to talk about. When you come across this person, number one, let me speak in his presence. He can confirm. Ukimpata kwa barabara, usikimbie tu kumshika mkono hivi. Is it true?
Yes.
Why? Because ujui anaenda wapi, ujui anafanya nini. Wewe umekimbia tu juu unaona mvua, unaanza kumshika. Don't do it. Number two, don't do anything unless you ask them first. Is that okay? Muulize kwanza, naona kunanyesha, can I help you ama uko sawa? Labda uko sawa, nataka kunyeshewa au nataka kumpeleka kwingine.
And to add on that,
yes.
I'm sorry. At times, unaweza patana na mtu ambaye ako blind, ako kwa barabara, ako stranded, and they want to cross the road. It has happened to a number of my friends, even kwangu mimi mwenyewe. And because of that charity mentality about very many people have got in this society, you may approach someone unataka kusaidia, maybe just crossing the road. What has happened to some of us is that somebody shakes your hand and akuachia 100 shillings and they walk away. And you didn't want their money, you just wanted them to help you cross the road. So don't come with assumptions. That's why it's important for you to ask. And don't fear, just ask. And as I wound up, there's a very good book that I always recommend for those of us who want to challenge the assumptions, stigmas about disability. There's a book that has been written by this lady. Her name is Jenny Morris. It's called Pride Against Prejudice. Maybe in your free time you can find that book and read it.
Thank you so much. So these are some of the testimonies we wanted to hear. Na pia unaona this ndio macho yake. Sasa ile wakati ameiweka hapa, alafu ukuje juu unapanguza kiti ya church, uitoe hapo uiweke the other side and you forget and you go. Sasa yeye akianza kutafuta anajua aliweka hapa, si ndio? Alafu wewe kumbe uliweka kwingine. Why are you doing that? Please don't do anything unless you first consult. Is that clear? And we said this is not a curse. Anybody can get it. Simesikia amesema alikuwa disabled at some age. Yes. So anybody and everybody can become disabled. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Mungu
much.
akubariki. So we're going to close there. And Caleb and John Pierre, then we are going to close. Now, I don't know whether I'll be able to speak again, but if you want to know if your child is disabled or not, we didn't have enough time to talk about them all. Number one, tafadhali, usiambia mtu ati mtoto wako ako disabled. You are not a doctor. Sawa sawa. Even if you see they're disabled, don't tell them that your child is disabled because you're not a doctor. If this person sues you, hautatoboa. Is that okay? So best thing to do, you recommend for them to go for assessment. We have hospitals and some institutions that do assessment. We have Akina Kenyatta, Bagadi, Mama Lucy. Ingine ni gani, John?
I think I know the three also. Mama Kenyatta and then also Mbagathi and Mama Lucy.
Yes, and others. We also have some educational assessment centers. Akina Kise. Do you know Kise? Kenya Institute of Special Education. So if you notice there's something about someone, please don't be quick to say mtu ako na disability. You are not in a position to do that. And even if you're a doctor, once you have done the assessment, you take it to what we call the National Council for People with Disabilities. Wao ndio watapeana report, watasema mtoto ama mtu ako disabled, and then they'll give the disability card or number. Is it true?
Yes.
Yes. So don't do it hata kama umeona utajipata kwa mashida paka ushangae. Karibu John and Caleb, and then we will pray and finish. Kiongozi, you can tell us.
And excuse me, finally, before John speaks, there's something I would love to demonstrate to you. The right way of guiding a blind person. Let me show you. When you are guiding a blind person, you don't hold hands like this. This is not the right way of guiding someone who is blind. So if someone who is blind, you want to guide them and show them the way, allow them to hold your elbow like this. You hold them the elbow like this, and you walk like this. So whenever he walks, I can feel his body movement. So if he goes down, I can feel he has gone down. If he turns, I can tell he's turned. So this is the right way of guiding someone who is blind. Thank you.
Did you hear that? Sasa wale watu wa kushika mtu mkono hivi, don't do it. Sawa. Wengine mnamshika hivi kwa mabega, twende. The reason why una feel movement, when the hand moves up, ata feel. Ikienda chini kama hata ni kwa stairs, pia ata feel. Na mmesikia from the horse's mouth. Asante sana. Karibu John.
Once again, thank you. I will not even give the testimony because of for the interest of time. I can see it is 4:18. Let me just do something small and then I leave. As he has said, to follow the key. I did not do it in the morning, but I'm a gentleman, of course. I'm John Mwangi, as I had said in the morning. I'm wearing Dr. Brown shoes and a jungle green trouser, as well as a cream shirt. And I have a jacket of a red-gray jacket. And I'm 5.4, if I'm not wrong. Maybe chocolate, maybe brown, maybe dark, I don't know. Maybe chocolate, maybe chocolate. So finally, let me just say the truth. I'm very grateful for being here today, honestly. It's something that I cannot hide. I'm very grateful, very happy. The happiness can be seen, right? I'm visually impaired, as I had said in the morning, and I was born visually impaired. That means I have never seen anything since I came to this world. I have never seen anything. So can you just close your eyes for a minute or for some seconds? All of you, close your eyes. Just close your eyes. Now you can open them. That is the world that I'm usually in, maybe. But even if I cannot see, I still can see in my own ways. In fact, I am the only blind person here who has said that he can see you.
And he can only see money.
Right. Let me just do something small. It's a question, and it's a response that I would like to give in advance. I have closed my eyes for any person who might be I would like someone to shout his number or her number. Anybody at random to shout his or her number from this church. Yes. 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 875.
All right. Something is being demonstrated here. Let's find out.
Are you off?
He's off.
I would like someone whose number is on. A bit?
Just a moment. Hold on.
I'll tell you. 0792. Sorry, 0792. Okay. 60. 17. I have called you. You can see. Finally, I have called her. That's how I use my phone. It's a normal phone. It has a software called... Isn't it? Thank you. And as well, we can cook for ourselves. And some of us cook delicious meals. For example, Alfred Makere is a Kisii. Huwa anapika matoke.
Alfred, unapikanga ndizi?
Yeah, that's true. But it's something that nowadays I'm finding myself I can't do. So, yeah, but we can cook for ourselves.
Yeah. Disability is not?
Inability.
Is not inability. Alafu kuna wale watu, when you come to the podium, to the pulpit, ama any open forum, alafu unaanza, look at your neighbor. Look at your... Let us be sensitive, amen? Let us be what? Sensitive. Are we going to be that? Because when you say look at your neighbor, what are they going to do? Huh? So tutawaacha nje, si ndio? Hata wale wa, if you're happy and you know, clap your hands. So what about mwenye hana mikono? Ama aya, kila mtu abebe mkono juu tusalimiane, kila mtu abebe mkono. Aya, si ndio? Wewe uko na mkono umeinua yako. Mwenye hana anafanya aje? Anainua nini? Ha? Mwenye hana anainua nini? Are we going to be more sensitive now? When you're in a public gathering, be more sensitive and what you say. Sindio? Asante sana John and Alfred. Mungu awabariki.
Thank you.
So after Caleb, we're going to have the closing item from Embakasi APM choir. And then elders and the leader, you will tell us what to do. Thank you. You can sit. Question? But our time is up, kindly.
Na wasalimu wa mchambo. Swali langu linaenda kwa John. Nimeona nimefika pale hata kama hakuniona, nimeona vile alikuwa anafinya simu. Mimi niko na namba yake, nampigia simu. Atachuache mimi ndio nampigia simu.
Niko na tendency ya ku cram numbers, na pia apart from that tendency huwa nina save numbers. Sasa mtu akinipigia nitaswipe tu kidogo, itaniambia, because nilikuwa nimesema hapo awali kwamba simu zetu ni normal. Kuna kale ndakaita ka software ambako huwa tuna activate kanaitwa talkback kwa simu za Android ama voice over kwa simu za iPhones. Sasa hiyo software mtu akinipigia saa hizi nitaswipe kidogo, itaniambia kama nilikuwa nimekusave, itaniambia jina yako. Right?
Sawa.
Yes.
Asante.
Another question? Someone? Okay, how many have questions? We are time bad. 1, 2?
2 only, because
Only
of
2?
time, please.
All right.
Still, this goes to John. He has told us, together with the other friend, they have told us about the colors of their attire. Did someone tell you what you're wearing, or there's a way you know the colors also? Thank you.
Swali yako ni ya John. Swali yako ni ya John. Huh? Your question is to John.
To both John and Alfred.
A comment, okay.
She directed to both John and Alfred. Nobody told me that I'm wearing a cream and a jungle green. Yes, I touched them and I knew. How I knew? Let me explain to you later.
If I may add, there's an app, maybe some of you who would love to volunteer. There's an app called Be My Eyes. It's an American app. So what some of us usually do in the morning whenever you're going to work, you dial that app. There's a section for volunteers. So volunteers are all over the world, and blind people all over the world usually call in that app. So once you call the app, the camera comes on and someone is always on the other end. So you'll ask them how you've dressed, if it's a neat cloth or something, if it's a document they can read for you. It's the kind of inventions that are out here. With AI and everything else, it's possible. Thank you.
Last question, please.
Happy Sabbath, Church. Mine not actually a question, but a comment or what maybe John and our new body in the bar who was admitted recently is that a blind person atakusalimia leo utajiintroduce, and next akikusalimia tu aguse hivi atakuwa amejua. God gave them other ability ya kujua zaidi. Anaweza jua tu leo nimemsalimia na nimeintroduce vizuri, I'm Rebecca from this place and this. Next time nitamsalimia tu, hata nisipomwambia jina atashika tu vizuri, alafu ataniambia oh Rebecca. That time I don't need to introduce myself. Akijua tu nikikaribia anajua ni mimi. So our God is very wonderful. God is working in his own ways. Alituumba kila mtu tofauti. Iyo najua out of experience. There is one person who is working in the National Library. Anaitwa Athman. Athman, I assisted him one time when I came to Nairobi. Lakini nikipanda gari tu nikienda tu nimsalimia Athman ataniambia oh Rebecca you are here na hajai niona. So Mungu wetu ni wa ajabu sana. May holy glory goes to him. Thank you.
Amen. So let's hear what Caleb has for us. How are you? Happy Sabbath. Let me see your hands. Do as I'm doing. Happy Sabbath. Bado happy day. Just do as he's doing. Happy Sabbath. Again. Happy Sabbath. Fanya vile amefanya. All right. Happy day. All right. So I hope you are learning well. You are learning a lot. So my name is Caleb Barongo. And that is my sign name. I have 2 sign names. So I have a testimony about myself, my birth, and how I became deaf. So when I was a baby, when I was born, and when my mother gave birth to me, I was not hearing. I was born deaf. But when my mother looked at me, her heart was in shock. She felt so painful. She tried to care for me, and I grew up, tried to communicate with me. So my mother used to look at me and was wondering, how do I talk to this one? This boy cannot talk, he cannot do anything. So what am I going to do? So he was trying to teach me things like, this one is a plate. Sometimes she writes for me. So I was trying to learn because my mother did not know how to communicate with me. So later on, we continued learning. She also tried to copy me. We were copying one another. So we tried to copy one another to use sign language to communicate. But then my mother tried to teach me mother tongue, but she also doesn't know so much of sign language. So it was very brave. But then with time and as I continued to grow, we started to understand how to communicate with one another. So my mother didn't know how to use sign language. She used to say it is very hard. Now, she never understood anything. So communicating with her was very, very hard. Now, as I was growing up, it was still a big problem communicating with my mother because I was born deaf. Now, how am I going to learn? So sometimes she could write for me clothes, spoon, and all those things, clothes and others. So, but as I continued to grow, my mother began to understand that indeed I am deaf. So I went to school, I went to college, I finished learning, and then I continued with my life, of course, but still, remember, I am deaf. Now, sometimes I also went to a school that had both people who are hearing and others who are deaf. Now, I'm still growing, remember, but still interacting with these people became very, very hard. Mm-hmm. Now, I was born deaf. I went to school. I finished school. But then I had one problem. I never became sick. I was born deaf, yes. And my mother always cared for me very well, and I grew up very well. Now, I could always ask people, now, you people, you were born well, and now you're here. You are able to communicate because you're hearing. Now, how do you communicate? How do you write this? How do you sign this? Maybe you want food. How do you say this? You want these clothes? What do you do? Show me, show me. So, because for me, I am deaf. So I could see and I learn. I learned from what my hearing friends could do. I became interested. So, sometimes I had challenges communicating because as I was growing up, I couldn't communicate with those who were hearing, so I could just become quiet. I didn't know what to do. Now, sometimes we could just do things, maybe fight, maybe my mother could want to pinch me, maybe abuse, others could abuse me, and so sometimes they could just hold my ears and wonder, what's wrong with you? Do you hear? And I feel so angry. I feel so annoyed. I run and I beat them. I run and beat them and fight them because they're holding my ears. But then, some who are abusing me, they were holding their ears while abusing me. And then I feel like I just want to run and beat them seriously because they used to think I'm mad. But I could fight them. So, when they could see me now, they stopped holding my ears because I was now defending myself. Sometimes I could even throw stones at them, but later on I stopped. Now, maybe only one example. You try to wave at this person from behind. They can't hear you, and you are busy trying to wave at them. You are trying to call them, but from behind. They can't see you, they can't hear you. It's hard to communicate with them. Now you decide to pick something and you throw at them. Now you hit them at the head, at the back of their head. Don't do it. Now, if you notice you're not hearing them, walk very fast and tap them gently on the shoulder. Then this person will turn and greet you and then tell you, oh, I can't hear. Now you can write for me. Then you'll understand one another and you'll become friends, you will communicate. Others, you call them by clapping your hands. You're trying to call them the way you call them. You shout, maybe the name, but they can't hear you. Now, what you're supposed to do, this person is deaf. So it's good you go in front of them and then you wave your hand to get their attention. You just wave your hand gently to get their attention. Not that you look at them, you clap, you try to shout very high, loudly, calling their name. Don't do that, please. Sometimes you stamp your feet, you're trying to get their attention, they can't hear you. Maybe you use a rod, a stick, you're trying to flag it in front of their eyes. Huh? No, don't do that. So, it's good you walk, get in front of this person, wave your hand, then make sure there's eye contact, and then try to find out, how are you? If you don't have a pen, you can write. If you don't know how to use sign language, and then next time you can learn sign language and ask, how do you sign this? How do you greet one another? For example, hello, good morning. You learn, you become interested. Later on, you will change and become interested, of course, to join the sign language class, and you will learn how to communicate with the deaf. Sometimes communicating is hard. Maybe because how we read and how we write is hard. You may write for us, the deaf, but we don't really comprehend what you are saying. Or even we write to you, you may not understand. So, you may try to teach, but as they are growing, you try to teach them the alphabets, the numbers 1, 2, 3, they understand. Later on, they'll become your friend, and you continue learning sign language, and of course you'll be interested, they'll be connected to you, and you will grow together. Now, I want to ask you people one question. I want you to join in this church the sign language class. How many are interested to learn sign language in this church? If you're interested to learn sign language, you can lift up your hand, because it's like this need in this church to learn sign language. Please raise your hand if you are interested to learn sign language. There is a class here in this church, so you can raise your hand. How many want to join class of sign language? If you're interested to learn sign language and join the class, please raise your hand. We want to see you. Only two? There's no man. Only ladies. Men, where are you? Men. Men, where are you? Only ladies. Okay. Men. Now, if you think sign language is hard, out there when you meet these deaf people, maybe they're your neighbors and in your community, how are you going to communicate? When you're interacting with the deaf people, how are you going to communicate? Are you going to talk? You're going to do what with them? How are you going to communicate? How are you going to communicate with them? Please come and join the sign language class. I hope next time I come back it will be better, and I wish that today